This week I spent a day out on Bullard's Bar Reservoir with Master Guide Brett Brady of Bare Bones Guide Service, and we ran a few different baits for kokanee. We ran Brad's mini cut plugs primarily, and Brad had some interesting insights about setback. Not the amount of distance you set a lure behind a dodger, but how far you put the hooks behind the lure. Here's what Brett had to say.
Okay, so I gotta get another Brad's on out. So on the Brad's there, Cal, you always want to do a few bead setback on that. See how that lure is? So we do a minimum of a 3 bead setback, and as many as 6.
Gotcha.
Okay, I get a lot more hookups with that setup. We use like a number, what is that? Like a number 4 mil bead on there. I know some guys use stacker beads on them. You can use clear UVs. Usually we like to add a little color if they're either a chartreuse or a pink.
Okay.
Usually on the pink hot tails on these, I like to go with like a pink bead. And that seems to be working just fine for us.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Brett is a true master angler, whether he's targeting kokanee in a lake, salmon in a river, stripers in the Sacramento River. He catches everything. He catches bigger fish than most people, and he knows way more about fishing than I'll ever know. The Brad's plugs that he was talking about, he's been rigging his own. He's getting the bodies and making his own leaders. Here's a pre-rigged Brad's kokanee cut plug as it comes out of the package, and you can see there, I haven't counted them, there's about 8 4mm beads there to provide setback between the hooks and the body of the lure. Now, why is that important? Salmon are notorious missers when they strike at baits. And that's interesting because they make their living feeding on bait fish, king salmon. You would think they would just zero in on that bait and nail it, but it's not uncommon to have salmon hit a bait a half dozen times before they get hooked. Having the hooks well behind a bait does a couple things for you. One, the hooks back here tend to be a little more stationary than the rolling bait. So when the salmon comes in, they can identify that and really zero in on it and grab those hooks. Now, especially when you're tipping this with corn for kokanee, or if you're tipping it with a little piece of anchovy skin for kings, it just gives them that target that's not moving as vigorously as the rest of the bait. They come in, they snap at it, and they get hooked. The other thing is, by having the hooks well behind a bait, when you get an aggressive fish that comes up and really nails that bait, the hooks tend to embed themselves well inside the mouth. The deeper inside the mouth you get the hooks on a salmon, the better chance you have of landing the fish. Whether you're in the ocean or on a lake, the ones you lose are the ones that are usually hooked right on the edge of the mouth because they came in and they either nipped at the bait or they came in and they partially missed it and they just got skin hooked with that hook. So anyway, setback is important. You never want your hooks laying right on the back of a hoochie or a rolling bait like this. Give yourself that setback. That's gonna ensure that you get more hookups and the fish you hooked are hooked more securely. Anyhow, that's it for now. Catch me on my next video podcast. This is Cal Kellogg signing off.